Ladies and gentlemen, live from London, it's 3ds Meetup.
Hello everyone, we are on our, is it our 16th or 17th time of doing this? Hello everyone, this is us, hang on. On our, is it our 16th or 17th? Does no one else want to talk?
Yeah, sorry, I was just checking everyone could hear us on YouTube. Hi everyone. Very
Hi
nice
everyone.
to see you.
that shall we do the intro again and with a little bit of enthusiasm? I would just say
It shows something about the trust we have in Nigel's technical abilities. We were like, oh, we'll see if he can figure out this YouTube streaming thing first, then we'll introduce us. It's all working. It's all great. It's good.
Well, let's just say hi to our audience. Hello, everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
So tonight we are joined by Vittorio Bonapace. We've got Olga and we've got Simon and myself, and Emma should be joining us shortly, I believe. So it's a bit of a relaxed evening. It's impromptu. Vittorio is going to do a presentation, and then some people have submitted some images that he's going to do a paint over and we're going to talk about. And let's just see how tonight goes. I know a lot of people are away on vacation. So, you know, we thank you for showing up. So if you like what we do, please hit the like button. But yeah, let's see how we go.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe. As if you haven't joined us before, which hopefully you have, we've been doing this since April 2020. I think we're all getting fairly tired of being on Zoom all the time, and we do have some news, some 3ds London news. Simon, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, we're going to the pub. No, but you should. Yeah, sorry.
Right, so we have decided, for those of you in the UK, especially in London, and you know, this is a virtual, well, keeping our 3ds London community together, but we have decided that we are going to head back to the pub on the 1st of September. That is the first Wednesday of the month. Now, whether that's Simon and myself, and maybe Vittorio will come for a drink, or if you want to join us, we would love to see you. That's going to be back at Truckle's Bar.
Yes, fantastic news.
That sounds
and
good.
we should point. It's not like a full-on presentations. We're not packing everyone downstairs in close proximity to each other in the basement. It's have a drink outside in the courtyard, really, and get used to being close to other 3D artists, kind of thing. Keeping a bit of social distancing, but oh my god, it's been so long. We really do need to get back together again, so it'll be great fun.
I think that is it. It's nothing's prepared. That I would add that our friends at D2 are doing D2 online. That starts on August the 30th and runs for the whole week. So that goes from August 30th through to September the 3rd. So on September the 1st, we will be doing a watch party from the pub. What that means, we're going to have to work it out over the next month. We do have some very large flat screen TVs.
We'll nominate somebody to watch it whilst the rest of us have a drink. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, possibly. But that's a shout out for, you know, if you're not going to be with us at the pub, then please check out D2 online.
Do you have to be double vaccinated? Do you have to be double jabbed to go, Nigel? Are we having some rules like that?
Well, you've got the floor. I don't know. I think
don't know either. I just thought I'd say that. See what you thought. I'd put you under the spot, but no.
Well, I am.
Along. If you're not double vaccinated, don't cough on anybody, basically. But it's up to you. There's loads of people. It's like loads of people like me have not been going out enough, and you know, this year, last year was fine. This year's been very difficult. and it takes a bit of an effort to get back into the swing of things, how life used to be like. And it's certainly taken its toll on me this year, this third lockdown that we've had in the UK anyway. But yeah, I'm double vaccinated. I've spent an awful lot of time with myself for the past year and a bit. I'm looking forward to meeting other people, and
Well, I think that,
so it should be great fun.
and that is the essence of what, Simon, you started, was it 2004?
Yeah, I think so. It was a long time ago. Yeah.
A long time. So it's a year and a half of doing this. We will maybe remember in September, there is 24 Hours of Chaos that takes place the following week. So we're involved with that. Joanna is hosting on our behalf. So if you're hungry for presentations, then they're all going to happen the following week. First week is us getting back together and hopefully seeing some of you.
But also, if you're not in London, that's fine, because moving forward, we've really enjoyed the YouTube thing, and we're going to make sure that even if you can't be in London in the pub, you can still see all the presentations moving forward. But I know a lot of people have been asking me recently, so when are we going to do it, Simon? When are we going to get back? So it's September the 1st, Wednesday, September the 1st.
Should we mention? Should we pay for some drinks, perhaps?
We've got so much money that needs spending. I can't believe how much sponsorship money Nigel's got. It's like double whiskies all night for everybody.
Well,
basically, no. There will be some drinks there, I'm sure.
Possibly, yeah, and maybe. Oh, here is Emma joining us. Say hi, Emma.
Hi.
Hey. Sorry, apologies for
That's
being
all right.
slightly late.
All right, Nigel was just telling us he's going to shout everyone a couple of drinks at the bar.
Bring it on. The first 100 to turn up, we'll give you a drink. Let's see.
Easily.
Yeah.
So
So
depending on how drunk you get, Nigel, it could be all evening.
could be. It could. It's.
We'll tell the sponsors we spent it on something sensible.
I think that they would be absolutely okay with getting our community back together in some sets, and let's just see how it goes. Emma, we've just sort of agreed that on the 1st of September we're going to meet again at Truckles.
Oh, nice. Okay. That would
So-
be good after 18 months or however long.
You can-
do again.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. That's the big headline. Moving on from that, I've got a note here to do with hiring. Our friends at Assembly Studios got in touch last week to say, could we give them a shout out, that they're looking for a whole bunch of artists. So hit them up if you're looking for work. They're a great studio. As is VMI Studios are also looking for juniors to seniors. So they're the only two that have contacted me. Does anyone else have any hiring news?
I actually do. We're looking for studio assistant. If anyone's interested, there's more information on the webpage and Instagram page of Hayes.
And where is that, Olga?
Hayes Davidson.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There's an opportunity to work for. I don't know if we can say the best, because that would be
The
a bit
oldest,
much.
you could say.
One of the oldest
Well, they are the oldest, aren't they?
visualization studios in the world.
Yes. What does a studio assistant do?
Assisting smooth running of the studio, supporting the artists, project managers. Yeah, the whole description is on the website, so I would recommend checking that for more details. But it's a very essential person in the studio, helping it all run smoothly and basically like the artists not to get lost in their own artistic worlds.
It's a stupid question, but are they remote or are they based in the studio?
Now we're
stupid
having
at
a
all.
hybrid.
No.
Sorry.
Not stupid at all. No, it's a good question.
Now we have a hybrid model, but obviously because of the nature of the job, it would probably be likely that that person would have to come in quite often to run the studio, sort out, prepare the meetings, things like that.
And what, if you don't mind me asking, what's the ratio of people working remotely and people now back in the studio there?
Majority of people are still working remotely because we're allowing enough time for everyone to be comfortable with the new arrangements, new situation, the COVID situation, and also to allow people to get vaccinated if they wish to, because obviously not everyone had a chance to do that yet.
So would this person be on their own in the studio if everyone's working remotely?
We have some people coming in, and obviously
Okay.
that's like something for a long run. So we are just starting recruiting.
Okay, so
Cool, yeah.
check out the website. That is it. In terms of, I'm just looking at the chat. If anyone's looking for work, write it in the chat. Otherwise, let's move on, shall we? Does anyone else have any other news? So we're the last 5 people not on holiday at the moment. Although Vittorio, you've just come back from vacation, haven't you?
Yes, yes. I've been a month and a half on holiday, so I think it's enough this time to me.
Well, let's hand over to you, shall we? And start. You've got a short presentation for us.
Yes, so I got a short presentation. Let me run through the share button. And you guys should see in a moment.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Alright, so guys, I prepared a quick presentation since Nigel had this little crazy improvisation idea of course, in a positive way, and I hope we're going to have some fun approaching the show this way. I'm quite excited not knowing the direction that all of this is gonna take, and having a more human-related conversation, talking about archviz and art. So, my name is Vittorio Bonapace. I'm an Italian digital artist, scenographer, and art director based in London. I've been working in the CGI industry since 2009, and in the artistic field for around 15 years. I work mainly in 3D blending the outcome with digital painting, and I love telling stories through art. For those of you guys who don't know my work, I put together a quick reel, and here it is. So I train in stage and production design at the Rome Academy of Fine Arts in Rome. Before joining the CGI industry, I worked for 4 years as a scenic artist and painter with Maurizio Varamo for the Opera Roma Lyric Theatre in Rome. And I'm extremely thankful I studied classical art and scenography, and I grew up with art, theater, and stage lighting, as this gave me a chance to create my own artistic language and to understand the principle and the emotional and communicative aspects behind digital art and the general visual creation process. The slides that are running into the presentation right now are photographs on my work as a scenographer at the time. I've been experimenting and learning the beauty of stage lighting with the mood, the atmosphere, I've been painting on large opera backdrops, as you can see here with these huge brushes, painting on canvas on the ground, carving polyester blocks and studios, and working on frame composition, learning about color palettes and color mixing, shapes, proportions, which it's absolutely priceless to me. One of the most formative experiences I've ever had before exploring digital art was working as a scenographer for a 3-month period in Hong Kong with a Bohème opera by Giacomo Puccini, directed by Maurizio Di Mattia. And I have to say, this gave me new perspectives about art direction, communication, and artistic and concept understanding. I became more and more interested in the world of digital art and architectural visualization, specializing as a 3D artist in high-quality renderings with the aim of creating interiors with a strong attention to detail in each part of the image, like this visual here, combining in this way my artistic background with computer graphics and technology. I worked for several companies in Italy, jumping from design and fashion ones to more architectural studios one, with the constant goal to get new inputs and keep my art inspired and refreshed every single time. I worked as a freelancer as well, and I ended up starting my company, Vittorio Bonapace Visualization, in 2013, with particular focus and attention on interior design and interior shots. I joined Cityscape Digital in 2008, and this is the reason why I moved to London, to improve as an artist and challenge myself. And I joined as a senior visualization leading artist, becoming some art director. I founded Vittorio Bonapace Studio in 2019 here in London, working with several architects and offering freelance services for archviz studios as well. And I'm currently art director of my own studio and of a US design studio called MGI Design in Malibu, Los Angeles. Over the years, I used to take an active part into competitions and online digital art challenges. I worked a lot on personal projects as well to explore things out and improve as an artist. I did it for fun, I have to say. I did it for fun initially, but I consider it now an important chapter of my life that allowed me to grow as an artist. And essentially, I love to challenge myself, joining competition and learning new things every time, experimenting possibly with a new software for each new competition. And also, it's fundamental to me to be critiqued by other artists and judges, and analyzing people's judgment while reviewing my images helped me a lot in understanding how people emotionally react to my illustration and how powerful my message and my concepts are. I'm going to show you super quickly a few works that have been chosen, featured on some magazine or awarded somehow over the years. And this is the oldest one. It was featured on Beyond's Creative Gallery in 2014, quite a prestigious reward to me at the time. It was about a private house project I did for a client in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia in 2013, and showing a series of interior and exterior shots modeled in every single bit. No need to mention that when I designed these interiors, I had to model creating from scratch and unwrap almost everything, since the 3D market to buy models or assets wasn't the one we know today, and there wasn't a lot of choice online. So I perfectly remember that was quite challenging creating those pillows and all the patterns, and I do remember quite well. This visual was design connected winning image for the Rendering Black contest in 2015. Loft in Rome, this one gained Best 3D in 2016. It was a huge project for a private client in Rome, around 34 visuals. Aurora project was nominated Best of 3D in 2017, and it featured on Design D'autore official page, which is a prestigious Italian interior design magazine. Shapes at the Park was award-winning on Aeromotion Challenge 2017, and then A Day at the Races was probably the most rewarded one so far. It won and gained the Evermotion Challenge podium in 2018. It was CG Architect Award nomination for the non-commissioned image category in 2020. It was also Best of 3D 2020 and finalist image in One Rendering Challenge 2020 by Architizer. It was designed before COVID-19, and somehow it was considered prophetic about the world pandemic because of the kids breathing inside these glass bubbles due to the virus and polluted air. Electric Neon was finalist and cover image for the One Rendering Challenge 2019. The set of image called Ordinary Beauty got a finalist position for the Tomorrow Challenge, the last year Tomorrow Challenge. And this is the first visual that was Sunshine Through Nature. Then the second one was Inhabiting the Sky, subtitle Embrace the Life. A couple of friends going out in the evening, enjoying life after a long day at work. And the latest one was the Eccentric Fashion, subtitled Be Your True Self. And this was the final and irreverent image of the set for the perspective and the subject. I imagine a young female model having a photo shoot inside the main building of the scheme. We Must Act Now was honorable mention in Men and Nature competition by CG Mood in 2020. And the following pieces gained the podium into the T2 Challenge. And this is Commuting on Mars into the run for the Spaceman Challenge, which represented the unusual coexistence of humanity with the artificial and the relationship between humans and the planet. And I thought it was pretty cool to see a normal glimpse of life into a tube on Mars, in this case, rather than doing epic or extraordinary things. Then Alien Lego for the Lego Challenge. Then we have Pinocchio for the Belly of the Beast Challenge. Home Sweet Home, that was for Digital Favelas Challenge, partnership with Matthew Paint. And this is the most recent one. This is the Tomorrow Challenge 2021, the first settlement on Mars, which Nigel knows pretty well since he was one of the judges involved into the competition. And I designed a set of 3 images, and this visual here up in the air gained the podium, and it won also the CG Architect Beats Pro the week, which is a great reward every time to me. Now, before continuing with the Hyper Show, I wanted to highlight super quickly one of my recent interests since I approached from this March, the NFTs world, embracing it since I saw a great potential in this new rising market for digital media. And as you guys know, digital art has been considered valuable and unique, and we can sell it as an original piece of work for the first time in history. So this made me think, and I consider really cool how life sometimes is a circle, and what we studied in the past after several directions, good ones, wrong ones, or several experiences as well, and years of work and hard working, it comes back so we can continue where we started. And that's why I've been recently invited on Super Rare, a super prestigious digital art marketplace with a curated NFT drop by Serena Tabacchi, which is a modern of contemporary digital art director, and auctioned by Astecambi, a solid institution in selling art pieces in Italy. And I've been involved into the first Italian digital art exhibition and art sale. And since I've got something coming to the horizon in this direction. I'm super excited to keep this artistic direction alongside my work for my future, actually. And this is it. So
That was
so
cool.
I'm going to, thanks. I'm going to, so since we received a few images from you guys here, I don't know if Nigel, you wanna, or Simon, or guys, you wanna add something?
Before we jump on to this next bit, does anyone have any questions of what we've of Vittorio's just presentation?
Yeah, sorry, Vittorio. Maybe I was sorry, I was a bit distracted at the beginning. But could you repeat again, you know, what your role is and what you do and how your images are involved in your work, or do you keep them separate?
So I'm art directing my own studio, and I work for architects and archviz studios as well. But in the same times, I've been doing personal jobs, personal images, and since probably 3 years now. And this is becoming part of my artistic work at the moment, especially with this new marketplace, the NFTs. So I'm trying to integrate them with my studio. But,
cool. And then
yeah.
so now I'm going to ask a very un-British question and talk about money. And I wondered how have NFTs been going for you? Because Nigel was telling me about it maybe at the beginning of the year, and it sounded like nonsense to me.
No, this is
and then I saw how much money Beeple made, and I was like, huh. And I looked into it a bit more, and it seems like it's not like a magic bullet to making loads and loads of money. You've kind of got to attach your art to something with value in the first place and hope it increases. But is it working out for you? I mean, if you don't have again, really sorry if this is rude.
No,
if you don't have a massive Instagram following, is it going to work for you? I mean,
yeah. Yeah, this is a really good question, because from the first peak when people gain all that fame and money, that was
I think it was about $65 million.
Yeah, it was something. Something. But I think a lot of artists that were involved into the NFT world at the time gained a lot of money, because there was a lot of collectors investing in this. So especially the very first time there was, I think there was multiple artworks sold for more than 100K, and then has been balanced somehow. And actually, today, I mean, the price have been leveled and balanced. So there's artists which are doing 2, 3, 5K with an image. But the interesting thing is now museums and curators are part of this world. So essentially, for the artist, it's better to have a curator behind you, because this allow you to have
Right, so I guess it makes you prestigious.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, at the beginning it was kind of a mess. So we have a lot of people, famous people.
I don't know if you agree, but presumably it will, by the end of the year, it will calm down a bit, and it will stop being a bit silly, and then it could actually benefit 3D artists, you know, once the hype has died down a bit and the silly numbers involved have gone down. I don't know, yeah, Nigel, you know more about it than me.
So in July, NFT sales topped $1.2 billion.
in July. Goodness.
So last week, that in trading, there was 100 million in 3 days. So it is a thing, and it's here to stay. And I think for digital artists, it's fantastic that there's now tangible value to your JPEG. It's no longer something that, and you should see some of the things that are selling. So,
but it's only tangible because everyone says it is. Because that's the funny thing. Because if you can find the JPEG, even if it doesn't have the NFT thing attached to it, you can still enjoy it on your phone or print it out on your. It's really weird. It's a really weird concept to get your head around. I think. But
let's just compare it to Banksy, and you see a Banksy on the street. We all go and take a photo of it, but that is a Banksy, and it's worth millions. But the photo that you've just taken isn't millions. You can't sell that. But you can sell the bricks, and you can sell that wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Like somewhere in England, they tore the wall down, the brick wall down, and they sold it.
Anywhere he's ever painted, the wall gets removed. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think if you own a building,
the painting is immediately worth more than the building it was tagged onto. So.
Exactly. Before we go off on a tangent, I want to just come back with a few questions for Vittorio. Simon, unless you have another one. So just looping back to your early career. Now, you have a passion for mountaineering as well. And before things really started taking off, you climbed Mount Everest. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that story?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, I was in a period of my life where work wasn't going the right direction, and the prices, the clients, I was a little bit unsure about my future. I think sometimes I know a lot of artists that they spend a moment in their life where you experience a low moment. So it's you're frustrated, or you're not inspired at all, and you're bored from your work. So I decided I had this passion for mountains. I'm doing this from several years, and then I felt there was the moment for have a break with my work and try something, trying a dream. And I had this dream to go on Mountain Everest. I didn't make the top because the top of Mount Everest, it requires, I think today is $70,000 just to reach the peak in terms of permits and entourage and all the stuff you need. But I did a few peaks close to the base camp, and I reached 5K.8 high, which was crazy. And I spent a month over there, and I removed all the bad thinking, all the bad relationship, all my clients. It was, everything disappeared. I was feeling really calm and a rebalance to myself, with nature, clouds, this pure environment, people there, which is kind of amazing. That the money is not important there. You meet these people moving from a country to a little country at very high altitude. They go into the school maybe. So it was really a dream. Sometimes when I remember the travel, and this is curious because I don't remember like a travel, but sometimes I confuse it like it was a dream, because it seems that it was not real for how much beautiful was that travel. And
do you have a desire to go back and climb further or
yeah,
higher?
No, totally. But I remember after a month I was quite broken after 25 days of hiking with a massive bag on my shoulders, with a fever sometimes, was hungry, and then if you have a fever, you should rest, but there's no heating, and you have to keep moving from a little city to another one, and then so it was challenging. But I when you come back and you spend a year in London or somewhere else, then you feel again the feeling to go there.
From that experience and that because not many of us can claim to have climbed one of the tallest mountain in the world, do you draw from that experience in your work and your creative work now? And it's just from the mindset of pushing yourself.
I think it's curious because you know, when I came back from Everest, I accepted to move here in London. So it's can be a coincidence, but I think
that was within a few days, wasn't it?
It was a week later, and I have this offer to come here as a visualizer for an high quality project in London. It was in Canary Wharf. And I have to decide in 2 hours if spend 3 months in London or not. And then I was quite totally relaxed and calm and refreshed, and I felt the need to jump into the buzz of the city, you know. So I accepted this opportunity, and then it became a fixed, a permanent role, and then I'm here in London now. So it's curious sometimes when we settle us and we are balance ourselves, how we clearly see the future directions, the better direction for us. Maybe if I was in Italy and I didn't have done this trip, maybe I was in Italy right now. I don't know.
But then
maybe
how important, because I think a lot of people get so engrossed in the work that they don't know how to switch off or to do other things. So obviously the outdoors, mountaineering is one of yours. The notes that I've got here, it's do you want to touch on, because you've had a career that's had its peaks, to use the mountaineering term, and it's had its troughs, it's had its highs and lows, and before you went or started your latest venture, in 2019 you had some health issues. So do you want to share with our audience, how you got through that?
Sure. So basically, I think I pushed too much. So I stressed myself a little bit. Then, now that I have a better understanding on English as a language, then I quite settled now, because they're almost 3 years that I'm in London. I remember myself younger, the very first time in London, and I remember being really confused about the city, about all the little aspects that around you. So I wanted to improve as an artist, and I was at Cityscape, so I was pushing a lot to get better and better and gain the better projects and the better. And then I think I overstressed myself for a year and a half, and this now is a lesson, because sometimes you have to feel yourself, and when you feel a little bit stressed, maybe you start to reply in a bad way to a colleague or to someone else. So we should probably understand better when it's time to take a break, even if it's a week, even if it's 2 days on some mountain or in a beach or somewhere else in a forest. But I think we should stretch ourselves sometimes, for sure, but then analyze and understand when it's time to take a little break. And to me, I stress too much, and it caused me some health issue, which I will carry for the rest of my life. But I manage them, I control this, so then it's another chapter starts, and then you can balance yourself better and better. And this is important, because everything's build yourself, actually.
Do you also
Right,
see?
because I mean everybody at the moment is going through the same. Well, I don't know the ins and outs, but everyone's gone through a very tough year and a bit. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to talk about it, and it's nice to acknowledge that the last year and a half has been difficult. And it has, you know, for me, definitely. You know, I mentioned it earlier that last year I was fine, but this year has not been fine. It's been really difficult. Yeah, just really looking forward to getting back into it, but treating yourself a little bit as well, because I don't think anyone's done that a lot for the past couple of months.
Well, then that's it. And I think, Vittorio, you, in the last sort of several years, you've really thrown yourself into competition work and playing around with competitions where things have really sort of taken off as well. From my calculations on your website, you possibly could be the most awarded CGI artist in the industry with 30 awards and nominations, or over 30.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Which leads us on to, I guess. People are saying we've got some audio issues, but the next thing that we should sort of move on to is doing a bit of a paint over and looking at some images.
Yes. So,
unless Emma, you've got some questions to finish off this section.
I, sort of following on from what we've been discussing, would love to know how you find the time to do all these competitions and things. So, like, how long are you spending on some of these images? Is it just like your evenings or weekends? And I know you said you're trying to get out a bit and not overstress, but how do you sort of balance that, and how much time are you dedicating to?
I always spend a lot of my time. I mean, in the past, I used to spend days and days on an image. I think with a little bit of experience and technical tip and workflow, I understood how to manage an image in a couple of days. So when a competition comes up, maybe I take some notes, I write down a sort of process, a breakdown, a series of tasks for each hour, because sometimes I have, since I have a lot of work on production for my studio, sometimes I have 2 hours for 3 days maybe. So I put down a series of notes which I erase every time at the end of day. And basically it's not easy, but I try to sketch something at the beginning. And this is important because when I was younger and I approached a CGI, I used to take a lot of time in refining it and understand it was right or wrong. But if I spend a little bit of sketching at the initial part, then during the process let's say that I make my own art direction, and then I review myself, and so I can do in a couple of days something that honestly 3 years ago I was doing in a couple of weeks. But of course this requires to sacrifice some hours, late at night, maybe sometimes in the weekend. But I guess with time I've learned how to integrate CGI studios and personal jobs into a kind of normal life, and goes outside and have my moments outside. So I think, have you guys any other question, or Nigel, do you wanna, or Simon, or you guys, Olga, you wanna add something, or I don't know. Otherwise, we'll
Oh, Nigel, you're muted.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
did that. I was checking that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on. Who's
So we got five images, and the ones I had here on my screen is from Tamayo. I don't know if someone wrote something in the chat, or we have some message.
Why don't we just bring it up on your screen and then kick off from there?
Yes, so let me put on my screen. You guys, you should be seeing the image.
Yeah, I can see an MG.
Yeah.
Or an Austin Healey, not sure.
Into context, we asked the community to submit some images for Vittorio to offer some advice of how could this be made better. For someone who's such an award winner and an art director with a scenic design background, what are your tips?
So I would go. I find a little bit of time to quickly sketch on it. I would say that the first thing that it comes to my eyes is to work on lighting and create, because you can see now that there's a kind of a flat image, so we could add a little bit of if we have a tree hidden here on the right hand side of the image, creating puddle lights or something like this, and creating essentially a better light here on this side of the car. We need to create three-dimensionality first. Try to separate. And guys, I will sketch on it so we can have a quick understanding of, because of course I don't have masks, I don't have
If anyone else on the panel wants to just jump in whilst you're drawing or painting over, then please join in.
Yeah, please, guys.
I think this looks great. I always like a red sports car. I think bits of the image are overexposed, and that bothers me personally a little bit. But otherwise, it's pretty nicely composed, and you can see there's some work has gone into it. Hopefully, yeah.
I think the greens as well. We could work better the green and kind of adjust. I think in general, Tamayo not should, because then taste is different, but maybe uncover a little bit of the architecture here, and probably use some reference to create this green wall on the back of the car, because at the moment I can read like a high log frequency and a little bit patchy. So I think firstly I would spend time in creating with a set of plants the wall, and then I think this image for the wall, for how I see it, is lighting first. So the sun could be moved, for example, creating these shadows, for example, here, of course, here on the statue, and of course on the car, so we can have this side stronger, creating three-dimensionality. Then creating some sort of a little bit darker foreground. And think it would be good to have something inside the sort of furnitures or an artwork or something classic here into the house. Then I think if we move the sun, we could have shadows projected kind of here, which could create some sort of dynamism into the image. I mean, the whole point is to break in with this, with the flat light we have at the moment. So, and sometimes it's cool to see the contrast, for example. So if we darken the background, so we can see when we play with contrast, how the cars pops up. So the same for this window, the statue, shadow projected, a little bit of shadow of the car here. I mean, it's little touches all over the...
Vittorio, from your stage design point of view and trying to actually get a narrative to it, I mean, as a backdrop, an image like this I could very much see as a backdrop to something like a model in the foreground, or how important is what you're doing at the moment in terms of, are you trying to bring some form of visual narrative to it, or are we just trying to correct the light for now?
Well, I think that's a nice point, because I think the narrative is the car itself. So if I, for example, I remove everything, we can see that it's a kind of a flat. And now with light, we can really make the car the main character of the visual. And this is, I found the statue, which could be maybe a little bit bigger, because this could help in terms of composition and creating something opposite to the car, something which is good on the storytelling. I'm not sure about a character or the owner of the car, because I like this kind of artistic, the classicism of the house, and dealing with some statue and some, but I would probably push the art statues inside of the house. And I think what it would require more time now, of course, but I think when we have a more balanced green on the wall, then we can have a balanced focus here on the foreground. Because if I remove it, at the moment, everything is a focus, and we need to give a hierarchy of focus here to me.
That's cool.
And not sure about this. I think they're cool that this has some object left there. Maybe we don't need those. Maybe we don't need these. Try to erase them. Keep going like this, guys. Tell me if we have something that comes to your mind.
I'm just curious how far you're going to push it.
Well, I think I could go on for the other hour and start being more refined with painting.
I'm conscious of the time. Do we want to move on soon to the next one?
Here. Well, maybe I think I'll keep this so we can send to Mayo. So that was the second one. I don't know
That was
Oh,
by somebody that we all know by the name of Josh.
nice, Josh. Okay. So I would say that as I open the image, I would say that the first thing is the saturation, which is a little bit oversaturated to me. But I understand that this is a choice as well. So to go more with a more illustrated visual. So what I would do here is desaturate it a little bit, because I found that there's a lot of warmth in the visual, and even the cooler tones are quite warm. So I would desaturate, adjust the verticals, because the fact that it's not aligned, it doesn't let me perceive the image correct. Then I think I like the moon, so I mean, in general, in this reuse, I won't change, but I will just keep the things that the artists are doing and just trying to boost their own ideas. So this is something I was working, so I would create, because you can see that I can perceive there's a weight, unbalanced weight. So we have this monolith here, which is quite imponent, and then this part of the image is quite empty. So I thought to create this a massive moon, for example, and then start. You can see I've seen that the author put some birds, for example. So I was questioning myself if compose the bird composition a little better and a little bigger as well. So in the way that we've got this diagonal carrying the attention on the ground, then I think it's quite cool. Then the author had this light spilling out from the inside, and I like to keep a sort of, a straight line to understand the architecture. So finding some detail here that could reflect the light here. Then if I zoom in, we can use some people to create some interesting highlights. Then I have to say that the images, it's quite cool. I like the foreground with the people here. I felt that there was missing a little bit of bluish in the image, just to play with warm and cooler tones. Then what else we can do? If I show and unshow, sorry. Yeah.
Vittorio, can we just stop for a second? There's some audio, and we're just going to pause this for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what's going on because I'm not quite sure.
Sure.
I actually quite like it how, like, even with like you're painting over it, it starts to get this new quality of more like kind of matte painting images.
All right.
Already.
we're going to go back online.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just a bit echoey.
And Vittorio, do you want to speak again?
Yes. So there it is. I would probably, what I see here, if I hide and unhide the image, the first image, I can see there's still a lot of weight on the image missing here on this side. So since the artist put this sort of structures here, I would just try and painting something here on the back, creating a background, I don't know, maybe a city with something quite on the background. Then probably I've seen that the trees there they were quite merging in the background, so I would separate those, try to separate the shapes, and maybe just give a little bit of touch here. Then what about people, because I like the composition. I found it cool to have this diagonal of people coming through here. Maybe someone right there. And then I think it's quite important as well to have some silhouette inside the architecture. I think this image could work as well in a portrait frame rather than a landscape one. But I think now, to me, now the image starts working better. I can feel even a separation of the tones. We can perceive maybe some green on the ground. And again, some bluish into the road. I think it's important as well, since this is a sort of dramatic sky. We could use a sky with some clouds enhancing as again this diagonal, quite almost silhouette. The architecture, I think, then I don't know the materiality for this, but probably that could be cool to play with some sort of metal reflection in some areas, just to have some highlights, and then in the upper part we could have some clouds reading, just to create some detail on it. I think it's important as well to have some bluish inside the shadows. Then again, architectural reading here. I don't know if you guys want to add something.
I'm just impressed by where you've taken it. It looks great.
Yeah. So, but also as you've been talking, I've got my fountain pen and my sketch pad, and I've been sketching out the form of the building, which sounds very impressive. It's not something I normally do, but it's good. It's a really good looking object. So it's pretty easy to make it look good, I think. So I know that the chap who produced this is an award-winning artist.
He sure is.
You know,
No,
Josh.
that was a good
And,
image and work for.
And I do. So I think the thing I particularly enjoy about what we've done is adjusting the tones and the saturation, and then pumping up the glow at the base. And I think it makes it a destination. You know, you want to go and see what's in the building now. So
Yes,
I really like it,
yes, yeah. Right. I didn't mention, but yeah, my aim was to bring attention inside and a little bit of activity inside the entrance, because I think this is that could be an important key feature for the architects in this case.
Yeah. So what's next?
So the next one, what I had in order is this kitchen.
So this is tricky. So this is a beautiful image, and it's well realized, but it's not an image that you wouldn't put it into a competition, I don't think. So I mean, the only other thing I would say, and I hope I don't offend anyone here, but so Vittorio, but Nigel's been referring to you, and you've been referring yourself to as an artist all evening, which is great. I love that there are people that use the same tools that I use and are artistic. And you see that last image; it was very artistic. But I would say for me, this image is not artistic. It's
technical.
Sorry. It's technical. It's illustrating a space, and this is kind of what my job is most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. The architects that I work with, they want to know the exact finishes. They want it to look realistic. So it's, if you were to flip back from this image to the last one, Vittorio, I think you could see why Josh's and your artistic ability has created this image. And then if we flip back to the kitchen, so I would struggle if I produced this image, I'd be very chuffed with myself because it's technically very good. It's great, but it's not artistic. You know, it's technical. It's illustrating a space.
I know what you mean, but I think even this, which is a pleasing image, I think we can add a little bit of life somehow, just to break up. I would do it more quicker than the other one. I created a few curves a few minutes ago. So let's see. We'll compose, gives a little bit of essentially what I see here that is missing is a strong light point. So if I turn this out, it's quite flat in terms of lighting. So I think we can boost the sitting area, which is where our eyes should go. And then, for example, fading the ceiling there, or enhancing the back here, start working with the floor, for example, creating a little bit of three-dimensionality here on the foreground, for example, because now we can see that there's no architectural reading, it's quite flat. But if we start working on this, and then we can add some more three-dimensionality, making the backyard wall, the back wall darker. And then again, if I go with some free painting, that'd be cool to pick up a nice color tone for the plants and start creating some contrast with the wall. I think it's fundamental to have some light coming through here. And starting creating a little bit of touches in this area. I see sometimes I see some confusion. I think it's good to have the shapes well designed and well separated, so it's easier for our brain to understand the shapes. And then some of the reflection here. I think probably we could work the red on the image and kind of give the same tone to everything. So
For me, the little brown chair in front of the red sofa is a bit in the way. I would re-render it without that brown chair in the way, because it's difficult to read the sofa at the end. And I think without the chair, you get a bit more of it would feel a bit more spacious back there as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool to have the chair a little bit here on the angle, in the way that there's something here on the back, which is good to create some sort of shadow here, for example. But then you're right, that just to discover a little bit the sofa and not blocking it.
So that would be my instinct, but I know an interior designer that I work with, or the architect, would immediately say, "Where's the brown chair gone?"
But basically that could be your choice to create something which is interesting, because we can uncover some.
Hey Nigel, who did this?
They're an incredible artist.
Oh, you did it, Nigel. It's NH.
Good.
Oh, nice. I got it. Wait, don't worry. The next one you can slag off, because I know who SM is.
So let's go for the next one. So
here we go.
I was waiting for audience comments and on that one. Look at this one. Oh.
So this one. So this one is probably is the trickiest of the set, because this is a different side. So if I face this, I would try and boost the artist. And since this is not photographic like the other one, but it's more graphic design, I would choose to proceed in this direction and try and saturate some colors. So I did some tests and quite quickly, and I think you can see if I hide and unhide, at the moment I can feel here there's no activity behind the glass, so I consider it a little bit dead at the moment. And that'd be cool to see some light coming through these glass windows. Can I ask you what was the building designed for?
So it was a theater in Russia.
And what's behind the glass here is
so inside the structure there'd be a black box, what we'd call a black box theater, so like a Las Vegas type.
Right. So there's a theater behind, so it could be project some lights, let's say, so right?
Yeah, so immediately your paint over looks fantastic, and I would 100% agree with you that that was a dead space where I probably got caught up trying to model all of the rest of the stuff and everything, and forgot that was the lobby space, and it needs to be well cooled. Like when you painted over Josh's image, sometimes you forget what's the important thing to do. But it was a super wacky building. It was, super wacky.
Yeah, but I saw something in the visual in terms of graphic design, which is not a usual way to approach render. So I think even these bluish and purplish lights, that we could find some sort of art behind it. So I think probably is tricky because we don't have high-res render, and I cannot see. I cannot read well the materiality, but
So the idea from the architects was that it was LED mesh, and so
Yeah.
that when that facade was in shadow, you could see that these LED cables showing cool light patterns. But on the left, there was a bright sun, so you wouldn't see the LEDs. But yeah. Oh,
I wonder how could this look like at nighttime or at dusk, because that was probably my.
Yeah, it would look better, wouldn't it?
But even now, if I hide and hide this, I just play with the opposite of what was done before, actually, because I inverted completely the hierarchy of the shapes and light. And I found that now, if I stretch this out, we could start reading better this horizontal light, which is essentially give the image life. That's what we need to. And I think it's cool then develop this image in terms of colors, because then we can give lights with some. I mean,
so if you, what's the one thing looking at this that upsets you that you would definitely change? Because so looking at this again after 7 years, there's one thing that I hate, and I would, well, there's a couple of things, of course, but there's two things I would hate. I think you've picked up on one by lighting up the interior. Anything else that's bugging you?
I think mainly is the, if I could flag something, is the people composition, which I found. Let me grab a red pen. I found that there is a block of people here and a block of people here, which is quite make me feel quite rigid in terms of composition. So I like the way that the people are overlapping each other, which is quite natural, because sometimes in CGI I see thousands of images which you need to fill every single gap with people. So I like that there's some area which is empty, but I find that we could have someone just to break the pattern here, and then I would be curious to really experiment this on a dusk with a lot of silhouetting people. So we really tone down the colors. We have this horizontal band of lighting, which is quite vibrant, and then people creating nice shadows on the floor. I think that this is how I see the visual.
Okay, fantastic. My two comments is, if I was to do this again, the floor pattern is the zigzag silver thing is super distracting for me looking at it again, and I wish I hadn't. I wish I didn't have to do that, but it wasn't.
I think now that you mention, I think that'd be cool to read the pattern, especially when the pattern approaches the theater glass, and then it fades out. Fades out when we go closer to the camera, to not distracting, to not steal attention.
Yeah.
But I think somehow when you.
I think the shape of the building is cool enough that you don't need a jazzy floor. So now I'm looking at it, and the floor's distracting. Now my other comment, Vittorio, is God damn, I wish I could have painted over it like you did for a little bit. It looks so good, and if I'd have been able to. If I'd have been if I'd have painted over it like this, oh my god, I'd have got a massive raise. So that would have been good. But yeah, I love what you've done with it. Really, really cool. And I want you to send it to me because I'd like to study what you've done. It's fantastic.
Sure, for sure.
I'm being really nice, by the way, Vittorio. I hate criticism. So I really dislike it, but I've super enjoyed this. I think it's fantastic.
Me too.
Thanks.
It's quite nice
what I would like to do is to try and get towards the look. I don't have the files anymore, but I'd love to. I'd really love to study it because it's been really, really cool. Love it.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for the feedback. It's good to hear it, Simon. And then we've got the latest one, which is this. So, as a first look, I would say that I like it. It's a good visual. It's more like a cinematic fashion shot together. So, because the interesting thing is the contrast between the photo shooting and a bathroom that could be a Dexter bathroom with blood on the, which is quite horrific at the moment. So it's quite contrasty. So what I'd be tempted to try and get some light, because I can perceive a lot of darkness. So just a little bit of light here. Well, sometimes I just test out shapes to understand how they work. So and then I think I would probably create details on the window, because at the moment it's too much washed out. So I would put back some a little bit of details behind first. It's good to have the overexposure outside, of course, because when you have darker inside, you have a lot of overexposure outside. But I would try to maybe read something outside. Could be a base with some plants or a tree behind or something, even if it's really, really barely visible, but something. And same here. Let's say that tree, just to create a little bit of detail. Then here close to the window, I would contrast the shape of this woman here. This is a little bit tricky because the image itself, it's a good image. So it's in terms of, I don't have many cards to play, but I think starting with shapes is the good thing to do. Probably a little bit of darker curtains. And then we can create some contrast here. I would probably enhance some highlights here.
Vittorio, when you work with your team, did just in the process of, I mean, this is really enjoyable watching you do a paint over it, but do you do this with your team? As you work on things, you'll just get straight in and draw over it like this?
Always. This is my typical review. I just try understand things, and then
But what stages of the image production is this on a daily basis, or do you have sort of a set workflow?
so yes, I've got a set workflow, and I start with a very rough sketch at the beginning, just to understand the lighting and just to understand the guys how I see the light in a specific environment. So if it's a more a golden light or a dusk hour, so I do that a first sketch, then I do a first review on a clay to understand contrast, and then a review on a more advanced draft, just to understand again shapes. And I mean, it's to me, even if when I work to myself, I often analyze my work. It's quite important to me to understand, and I work with reference every time. So in this case, I didn't work on a reference, but ideally, when we start working, we pick up some photography reference that it's similar to I'll make an example. If we are working on an aerial, we should find a similar aerial to express the lighting and tones, and then step by step we can check our work, because if we're working without reference, we end up with messy or when you're working without thinking to your art, or then it becomes, because even brain sometimes it in a way you get addicted and you get confident with what you're saying, even if it's wrong. And then sometimes you have to take a break and see the image after a couple of hours, and you'll see that the image is completely wrong. And that's because one of the most common mistakes is because you don't have a reference, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where do you grab your references from? Do you look at films?
Yeah. The best one, if I have to say, the best one is what I take with my photograph. So I go outside, I take a lot of photographs when I get inspired outside, and then I have built my own library of modes and situations, and so having a lot of light situations and modes, this really helps you to know the direction every time you see an image. Now I think for this image is quite difficult, because I don't have a reference for color tones. So I'm working and analyzing this while we're talking. So it's like this. It's more. So for example, I just discovered to me that I don't like too much this grayish wall here on the right hand side, and I would probably make more similar to the ones on the left. Just to and I still can perceive that there's some information missing here, and then I mean this is we can choose if going with this or not, but I prefer having information on the complete darkness of my image. And this is quite distracting, so I would be tempted to put a reflection of hair, because sometimes we need to just to make everything readable for our brain, because otherwise it comes to our mind ugly for some reason. And then I'd be tempted to change her hair, just to make her match in terms of palette. Well, I guess this is more.
I'm loving it. It's good.
It's more it's more fine art photography slash personal project. This is not a common artist project at all.
Vittorio, is it possible to see before and after of all the images you've done? Just to
Yes, sure.
Clicking through.
Fantastic idea. Yeah. So start from the left and yeah.
I just try to make it a more positive and just match the tones and create some more symmetrical use of colors. Then I think we can work again the ceiling to remove this light darkish bluish tone here, which is not good for the image, I think. And going with, I think what this image really needs is white balance set up at the beginning. So we should make the cooler tone cooler and the warmer. So we have a neutral point of white, and then we can basically work on top. There it is. I think we can. I could go for over for another 20 minutes on this.
I can see that you're loving this one. It's starting to look like a painting now.
Yeah, yep. And then maybe something in the clothes as well. Just to.
Nigel, we could host these somewhere so you could download them, couldn't we?
Sure.
That would be sweet. Let's do that so that you could and unless
Well,
someone has.
we'll put the link into the on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll comment on it when we do the edited version. We can,
Yeah.
This week. Can we go?
So
Sorry, can we go back to the first image that you worked on and do a before and after, and then go from left to right?
So that's the Tom Tamawi one, you mean, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and then stop painting. Just
Yes. So let's stop painting. I wonder if the shadow compositively was an half of the image. That would be.
I know, because now you're looking at it again.
There's plenty. Exactly, there's plenty of things we could do right now.
You want to change the contrast of the hue of the green from the left to the right.
Yeah, you can perceive it's still a wrong contrast between the leaves and plants. So that would be the first one. But at least we got some nice.
Sometimes you got to leave something alone for half an hour and then come back to it, and it'll make more sense.
Totally. And then
the next one.
The second one.
They're both good.
Mm.
I like the way there's a destination in this one, definitely. Yeah.
Then we got the kitchen, which is not a massive, because basically the base is there, so we should really start. You can see outside some little touches of light, color tones. I mean, if probably I would remove this guy here, for example, because I'm distracting and blah blah blah.
The luxury we had with that image, if I can sort of talk about it, is that the apartment had been built, and we're in this very odd situation where the client was asking for CGIs as the apartments. We could go there and photograph the apartment to get the exact materials, and so we took our time to really just drill in. So it's been really interesting how you've pushed and changed. So when it came to the brown chair, we did with and without and in and out, but because they wanted to actually try and tell that story in one shot of the living space, the dining and the kitchen, they all that furniture got layered back into it.
So cool.
Clients trump artistic vision.
There we go. And the next one.
So this is definitely the exception, because this looked way better before you started faffing around and painting all over it. No, I'm joking. No, it looks fantastic. Thank you. It's really, really cool.
It's a pleasure.
My goodness, it looks amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
There
that
it
was fun.
is.
That was great.
I hope you guys enjoyed
Very
this
much. Yeah.
painting process.
Save those Photoshop files, Vittorio. We're going to host them. Please.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. Don't give away all your secrets. They can be a base layer and the Vittorio layer. That's fine.
Of course, I will compress everything.
Well, I think it's quite a lot of people. And when I reached out to the community to ask them to submit images, a lot of people are quite standoffish to have other people comment on it in a nice and friendly way. But I find it very, very beneficial. It's, as you said, Vittorio, it's seeing things differently.
Yeah, no, fantastic.
And we should all be doing it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well,
Thank you very much, Vittorio. That's
thank
really,
you guys.
really good fun. I loved
Thank
it.
you, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and then it's good to hear it.
No, it was a very, very enjoyable experience. That bathroom one was one of my ones as well from 2007, and that the original was incredibly saturated and colourful, which we didn't like, because the apartments have black floors and black wooden panels, and in the bathroom that was the only splash of colour, but we just wanted to darken it down and make it a bit more interesting. So it was good to see that what you were doing is actually trying to bring back some of that detail that we were trying to push away. Wooden panels.
Exactly, yeah. So darkness is good, but sometimes you have to lift the black point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been really enjoyable. I think unless anyone else has got questions, we should start to wrap it up.
I think we should wrap it up, because I don't think we can get any better than that. But I would like to just reiterate, September the 1st. That could be fantastic.
So,
Vittorio, you're going to join us? You're going to come along for a drink?
For sure. I'm looking forward to this, guys. A little bit of physical and party. Yeah.
We're going to be smashing Twitter and Instagram every day, saying we're going to the pub again on September the 1st.
Nice.
Let's just hope nothing happens between now and then, and we can still do it.
well, yeah, and that I think is it. It's things look good in the UK and looks like we can do this. Do we all feel comfortable about seeing each other physically?
Yeah, I do. I'm fine with it. Now. Yeah.
Olga, you're in Europe at the moment, but you'll be back. But yeah, that's it. September the 1st, and then the following week we've got 24 Hours of Chaos, which we'll be back online for.
Yeah, so September the 1st is relaxed. There's no presentation. It's just a catch up with people kind of thing.
And then from October, depending on how things pan out,
we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. But as Simon, as you said, to those who are watching us on YouTube, we will continue to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going forward. Okie dokie. Well, Vittorio, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, 10 out of 10.
Thank you for your time, guys. Thank you for the space. It was a pleasure.
We'd love those PSDs. So if we can get those.
I accidentally closed it.
Oh,
No,
no,
I'm
you
joking.
didn't. No,
Joking,
no,
joking.
we love it.
I will,
That would
I
be
will
great.
save them. I will save them. I was joking.
And we'll
Deleted
put,
them.
when we do the edited version, we'll put a link into them because I think people would love to see what you've done. Fantastic. Thank you
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
much.
it's really cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Really
you, guys.
appreciate it.
Right, so we'll
Bye.
see everyone in person on September the 1st or later. Watch the space.
Take
Yeah.
care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.